So in this sound demo, we're going to go back to the late 70s, early 80s for a very typical flanger sound. I think what a lot of people associate to a flanger is that kind of jet engine swooping. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record a little guitar, and I've set it up so I'm reamping already. So I'm running through the DAW, I'm recording the DI of the guitar, and the DI is going out in real time to, we have the amp in the other room. We're using an EVH 5150 to get a really, kind of high gain, kind of Marshall-esque sound. I want to put the Clearmountain phases in line in front of the amp because it would have been typical to use it as a stomp box in front of the amp at that time to really get that aggressive jet engine. I'm going to also automate it in and out to show that how much easier it is to do it after the fact than, kind of trying to get that all synced up with the oscillation and like the pedal in and out. All right, we'll give this a little bit of juice here. That'll do it.
Really leaning into an era there, aren't you? That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah,
and this is why I'm excited to hear this, because growing up, the flanger was a very stylistic pedal that you could add to your chain. The opinion that I had of the flanger for a very, very long time until I started using it in other ways with the whiner that we've talked about as well. So I'm interested just to kind of go back into that, because I haven't used flanger like this for a very, very long time.
And that's it. It's almost a cliche application, and it's what people assume, that the flanger is a one-trick pony.
That's right.
And the whole point here is, we're kind of jumping in with the one trick, but then we're going to go and dig it out. But let's show the one trick here. So I'll dial up the Clearmountain phases. They modeled the original TCA chip, the BBD, pretty close to the auto flanger, the MXR, the rack version. The pedal version that I'm kind of tipping my hat to is the MXR 117, which was the stomp box. And the chip in there, I think, was the SAD 1024. They have an SAD 512. It doesn't matter for us because the 1024 just allows you essentially longer delay times. A very exaggerated flanger, we want the shorter delays anyway, so we don't need that. We're going to be using this around 1 millisecond, 3 milliseconds. What I'm going to do is I'm first going to drop in the flanger in and out, because I know the punch points I'm going to do. I'm just going to automate it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to automate the sweep manually. So here you have the option of syncing the sweep or having the sweep kind of going on a LFO. So it's just doing its own thing. I want to control the sweep specifically because like I said, I'm trying to recreate a very specific jet ascending and jet descending. So I'll do that as an automation pass rather than letting it try and sync up itself.
And the reason really for that is when you saw these guitar players use this, they were kicking it in and out on a pedal.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the whole point.
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to run the automation pass, and I'm just going to do the ins and outs. So the flanger is going to sound a little hollow at this point because I just have it set to a very specific delay time. It's not doing any oscillation, but I just want to get the drops in and out, get that first, and then we'll go back on the second pass for the automation, and I'm going to try and do the sweep to give you an idea of what that jet engine sounds like. So let's do a pass here of the bypass. Pretty close. I tweak it a little bit.
It sounds like a flanger.
Exactly. So now let's see. I'm going to do the first one descending, the second one ascending. I'll pivot between maybe 3 milliseconds to 1 millisecond. Again, really tight delay times to really have an exaggerated sound to it. Also, to note, I'm using the feedback loop. And what the feedback loop is, it sends the output of the flanger back into itself to really exaggerate those dips in the comb filter that's being created by the flanger. And that really makes it really resonant and exaggerates the jet engine sound as well. We recognize that sound a little bit.
Actually, this is a really great creative tool just to use, to mess with, to like, it's not just plop it on a track and let it do its thing. You get stuck in and you start moving it about a bit, and you get these effects that everybody has heard on these great records as well.
Exactly. And the fact that it's in a plugin form is you get all the benefits of it being in a DAW, where I can do stuff like this, where I'm automating it, get it, tune it to exactly what I want it to sound like. I can go in and dig in as deep as I want to really kind of get that sweep. I can even go into the automation and clean that up. But on the first pass, it sounds pretty good.
I think the importance with something like this as well is it allows you to dive into something that can mold a very static sound. And it's just adding something into the guitar scratching that allows the listener to be intrigued and interested all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the whole point of
probably in the first place. It's because it was such a linear, it's an eighth note chug, 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 chug. And exactly what you said. It's like the sweeping as interest across something that otherwise would be linear with no movement. So now that we did the automation, I'm going to print the reamp track so we can just set it, forget it, and move on.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll also give it a little bit more context. We can add a little delay, we can add a little reverb, give it a little pan. So if we look here, I've got two mics going on the amp. I've got the SM57 just kind of off the cone a little bit. And I've got a Royer 121 dead center, blending the two together to round it out. Let's pan it off to the left. That was characteristic of this type of stuff. Should I go hard pan? Let's go hard pan. Yeah. Let's go. Let's get crazy.
And that choice was a stylistic choice because you want the ribbon dead center because it's darker, and the 57 slightly off axis, just
a little brighter, and the capsules are phase aligned, and then I just blend that. This sound, I like it just rolling that 121 just up underneath it to give it a bit more of a rounder bottom to balance out the kind of edginess of that 57. And what I'm going to do is I'm adding, just for fun, I'm adding a kind of Echoplex delay. This is panned, and because I'm hard panning the guitar to the left, I'm going to pan the Echoplex to the right. And I'm also going to diffuse that Echoplex, sending it into the reverb. So it's a plate reverb. We're using the Relab LX480. I'm using the fat plate preset, which is on the original 480L. And what I'm doing is, rather than setting the pre-delay on the 480, I'm using the delay, the Echoplex delay, and then the delay is going into the reverb. So it's already 60 milliseconds. It's getting it a little out of the way of the guitar, but you're also diffusing the echo and getting the plate reverb with its pre-delay that way. And that's also to give me a bit of that width where I've got, the echo offsetting the hard pan guitar. So let's take a listen what that sounds like and print it at the same time, and that'll be it. There, you got that nice decay of the plate there. Sounds great.